All right. Hey, good afternoon, folks. Once again, we are back taking a look at the tropics. Today is Thursday, November 14th, 2024. This is your afternoon tropical update on what is now Tropical Storm Sara, our 18th named storm of the 2024 season is on deck. Finally, we have a tropical storm that is very close to the coast of northern Honduras today. Sara is not a very strong tropical storm right now, but decently well organized on satellite from how it looks. The trends have been good today. Overall, we've seen mostly good news as far as the model trends are still very much on that westward side of things we talked about. We talked a few days ago about how Sara, as she approached the Central American coastline here, how the storm actually behaved. Did it come further north, shoot the Yucatan Channel, and move towards Florida as potentially a strong storm? Or was it going to move closer to land and eventually have to interact with Belize and Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula? And the answer seems to be safely number 2 as of today. So latest from the National Hurricane Center as of 4 p.m., maximum stand winds 40 miles per hour, so just getting over that tropical storm hump. Movement to the west at 10 miles per hour, but it is slowing down. They noted that even since, now the forward motion is slowing down pretty significantly. So Sara is about done with that forward movement for a couple of days, or at least anything significant. And as you can see with the cone here, it does appear that it's going to stall basically right on the coastline of Honduras. So latest from the Hurricane Hunters show that it is trying to gain a little bit of latitude here today. The last two center fixes do show a bit of a northward kind of nudge, if you will, but it's not amazing. It's not a massive amount. So the big question for the next 24 hours or so as we get back over here to Tropical Tidbits satellite presentation is there any kind of northward gain that we don't currently see? The models, again, have this where the center of the storm will probably stay just offshore, but that means you have a big swath of the hurricane, or the tropical storm rather, moving across land repeatedly. And as these bands come across land, it dries the system out. It's kind of hard to see on the satellite, but if we were to actually pause this before dark, you can see there's actually kind of like a cut right here in the, oh my goodness, what are we doing? What are we doing here? What are we doing? Okay. There's like a cut right here of dry air moving in. That's because these bands come across the land, they kind of dry out, and then that drier air wraps back around. So the storm has a hard time, even if the core is not on land, just being this close of proximity and having this big of a circulation. Sara's a pretty big circulation overall. It's a big wave that kind of made this. So it's one of those things where if Sara was a tiny hurricane and it was right here, it might be able to completely ignore the land. But because so much of the circulation is over land, it's going to have a hard time getting much stronger over the next couple of days. But the micromanage of does this kind of ride along the coast or maybe just on the coast or just off the coast still matters for some, especially for those in this area. If the storm is able to stay, I'd say, 40, 50 miles offshore, it'll probably be able to still intensify. This is a very good environment overall. Like if you were to remove the land from the situation, it would be a very, very pristine environment for intensification. The upper level outflow and the wind shear and the warm waters. The downside, though, for the storm, of course, is that interaction with land, which is keeping it in check. Anyway, Hurricane Center's forecast does show this moving along very close to the coast and moving into Belize and Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula Sunday into Monday. And this is where we think the storm will probably wind up dissipating. The Hurricane Center actually currently explicitly does forecast this to dissipate within 5 days. They don't include anything about Florida and the Gulf of Mexico in their key messages anymore. And I don't want to sound the victory trumpets just yet, but that's kind of telling that the Hurricane Center is pretty confident this is going to fall apart. Now, is there a situation where that might not pan out? And the answer is yes, but it's very, very low chance. Sara would have to do a couple things. Number one, it would have to come much further north than we expect over the next day or two. The storm would have to essentially be, again, well up here, well away from land, and get much stronger. It would probably have to also slow down a bit more. It would have to really put the brakes on, and I don't think the steering flows are going to allow that to happen. But say it were to slow down more than we think and come a bit north than we think, and it gets much stronger than currently forecast. Say it becomes a hurricane. And then as it begins to turn northward Monday into Tuesday, it kind of clips the Yucatan like this instead of driving all the way through the peninsula. This could limit the amount of time it's on shore. And if you have a stronger storm and less time over land, you might be able to get a coherent vortex back out into the Gulf of Mexico. But the gist here is that what's likely to happen is Sara is likely to drive across the Yucatan and make it into the Gulf of Mexico on Monday into Tuesday, or whatever's left of the storm. But it is unlikely that the storm is going to survive in a coherent sense, as in it has a closed level center, organized thunderstorm activities, producing sustained winds of 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, yada, da, da, da. Probably not going to happen. And then what happens is a cold front comes down, seen here on the GFS. We back up a day or two. You can see the moisture from Sara down here over the Yucatan Peninsula, Sunday night into Monday morning. A cold front begins to come out of Texas and Louisiana and Arkansas, as we see here on the GFS, ahead of a powerful winter storm system as we go into Monday, Tuesday. And it kind of picks up that moisture and drags it back towards Florida. So if you look at some of these spaghetti charts, you're going to see all these lines over Florida. You may go, okay, well, wait, the forecasts have all shifted northward. And now we're looking at, is this a tropical storm? Am I going to get hit? And the answer is almost uniformly no. Yeah, there's one or two members that are still trying to spin this back up. But the reality is once this cold front shows up, there's going to be so much wind shear in the Gulf of Mexico. If Sara was already a well-developed hurricane, like say it was going to miss the Yucatan still, and it was going to be right here and then get picked up by the cold front, I would be concerned for that because that could be still a fairly strong tropical storm or hurricane making landfall. But given that the overall likelihood is that this is going to be either a very weak tropical depression or basically a non-existent remnant low, it's not going to have any time to reorganize before the front gets here. Like as soon as it pops off the Yucatan, it's caught by the cold front. And the cold front is going to be too much wind shear, too much cold, dry air to give this thing any breathing room to try to reorganize. There may be a very slight baroclinic forcing that maybe helps it juice back up a tiny bit, but to the person on the ground in Florida, it's not going to feel like a tropical storm. It's just going to be like a strong winter cold front passing. So it could help with rainfall totals. I mean, it's going to bring a lot more precipitable water to Florida. I mean, it could help enhance maybe some thunderstorms as the front approaches. We might have to look for some severe weather potentially. I haven't really investigated that, but it's possible. It could enhance rainfall totals. But given this look, it would be very shocking if anything tropical that's organized made it to Florida at this point. It definitely looks a lot better for the Keys. It looks a lot better for Southwest Florida. A hurricane strike is very unlikely at this point to basically not going to happen. But we will keep watching over the next couple of days. The hurricane hunters might be flying this weekend. I know they're going to have some flights scheduled. It's going to depend how close it is to land, and if the Hurricane Center wants them to keep investigating it, we'll just kind of play that by ear. But overall, again, forecasts show this is going to move into land. It's likely going to dissipate or weaken substantially before it gets offshore on Monday. And then as soon as it does, that cold front's going to start pulling whatever's left towards Florida, and it's probably not going to have any time to reorganize. So that's what I got for you guys today on Sara. Again, not much of a threat. We will have continuous updates on the Facebook page. I may or may not run another video tomorrow, depending on what this looks like. Maybe check in again this weekend, but that is kind of the latest. And otherwise, guys, it should be it. And hopefully this is it for hurricane season. So if there's more threats or more issues, we'll check back in. If not, it's been a great season. I appreciate every one of you guys that have watched these videos, everyone that's liked on both the Facebook page and on YouTube. It's been a wild season, and we've picked up so many new followers. I appreciate every single one of you being here. It means more to me than you could know. And we will, if there's more threats or more issues, we'll be back. And if not, I will see you guys sometime in 2025. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one.